Man, oh man, where do I start with this NBA Finals? Because Game One really had it all. Had Jalen Brunson clutch moments. It had hype moments. It had role players stepping up from top to bottom. This was such a great game. Outside the fact, I want to start with one person and one person only. Victor Wembanyama. You were 7'5". I think at some point in this game you forgot that. Down the stretch in the clutch in the fourth quarter, you decided I just want to shoot 3-pointers today. I can't handle karl-Anthony Towns. He is putting it inside me in and out, in and out, in and out, and I can't say no. All that physicality, all that body, all that strength, I can't handle it. He is just too strong for me. He's putting it in me, boxing me out, pushing me to the side like I'm a little bitch, like I'm a rag doll. Wemby, come here. You are 7'5". Start playing like it. And in no world did we think that Victor Wembanyama was going to sit here and get bitched by Karl-Anthony Towns. I think that's the main talking point of this game. Cat completely shut out Wemby. And I guess you can credit that to the fact that the Knicks' game plan was just crash on Wemby the entire time. But even in one-on-one possessions, Wemby looked like a deer in headlights. He didn't know what to do. It generally felt like he was scared of the moment. He was scared to go at Cat time and time again throughout the entire game. And when Mitch came in, it didn't make any difference. And the crazy part about it is that the Spur is that karl-Anthony Towns was also attacking him just as much. There was like after the start of the game, the Spurs started having Wemby guarding Cat. So when Cat comes at the screen, they could switch, rotate, and then Wemby ends up on Josh Hart regardless. But just to give them the Knicks a sense of let's get into one action first and burn more time, it was working. But every time the Knicks went away for that and just went to hey, Cat take him and go, Cat took him and go. Cat was running right by Wemby every single time. It really makes you think that Wemby kind of got away with a lot in the perimeter this entire playoff run, not having to guard someone so far out time and time again, in a center that will push him out so far from the basket that he becomes a non-threat in the paint. Because Wemby not being there because he has to guard Cat, that leaves the paint wide open time and time again. And even Wemby had such bad possessions and closeouts when he was on Josh Hart, but elected to jump and go and contest Josh Hart's shot instead of going in the paint and helping grab the rebound over Cat. Cat, time and time again, has outmuscled Champagnie, Calvin Johnson, Harrison Barnes, Dan Vassell, whoever they put on him, he outmuscled them. And that was my biggest problem going into the series. Outside of Victor, there is no one that can stay in front of Cat on this team. Luke Cornett is just too slow. Like Victor Wembanyama is too worried about contests, block shots. He can't do it all. And everyone else is just too small. That is the issue I run into. I think Cat played one hell of a game. I don't think they win this game without karl-Anthony Towns at all. From start to finish, I thought he was great offensively and defensively. And obviously, you can't have a good Cat game without him getting into foul trouble. That is just what's going to happen time and time again throughout the series. Whether you like it or not, karl-Anthony Towns will be in foul trouble every single game. He picks up such stupid fouls at the worst times. He picked up 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the third quarter. 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. I don't know what more you want me to say about Cat. It's just this is just who he is. He can't get away. He can't do anything properly without fouling. He can't keep his hands to himself. He loves just touching everyone whenever he fucking can. It's an obsession. That's just who he is. And I thought OG was great tonight. I thought that OG from start to finish hitting timely 3-and-3 in the corner. That contested corner 3 he made in that fourth quarter towards the stretch was just icing on the cake. We all knew OG and Mikal, in my opinion, were going to be the X factors in the series. Because if they can keep up the performances, then the Spurs don't have a counter. And then when you have OG go for 17 points, 3 of 6 from 3, even Mikal, I know Mikal didn't have the greatest game, but he took 9 points and scored in a timely fashion. The only player I would say in that starting 5 that felt like a negative offensively was obviously Josh Hart. And I know a lot of Knicks fans were just giving Josh Hart shit throughout the entire season. And holy shit, you guys have to put some respect on Josh Hart's name. I understand how bad he is offensively. He doesn't even look at the rim. But my guy, he had 15 boards. I didn't even realize it until I'm looking at the stats right now. He had 15 rebounds and 4 steals. 2 offensive rebounds, 13 defensive rebounds. Cat had 12. They were on the glass together. You can't teach that. He had 15 rebounds. That is more than anyone else on the San Antonio Spurs. And no one else on the Spurs had 15. He was the leading rebounder in the entire game. Vic had 12. Champagny had 10. The Spurs had a lot of group rebounding. I'm looking at it right now. The Spurs had a lot of group rebounding. Everyone had like 8+ majority in their starting lineup. Before I get to the captain, Jalen Brunson, I want to talk about Landry Shamet because he also came into the game and made his presence known instantly. Because every time Shamet came in and the Knicks needed a 3, he somehow there hit a ridiculous 3. He hit 1 3, I believe it was in the third quarter on the wing. It was kind of like a sidestep 3 over what you call it. I believe it's Vassell. He had a sidestep 3 in the corner and on the wing in the cornerish in the third quarter when they needed the bucket the most, and it really showed that they needed him to hit. And he really made some time with 3-pointers. And on top of that, Mitchell Robinson did play only 13 minutes of this game. Then again, he is coming off surgery. But the first time he saw the court, Jalen Brunson threw him a fucking lob. I was confused. I was befuddled. Why are we throwing Mitchell Robinson a lob off coming off a hand surgery? It was a turnover. Obviously, that should have been a float for Brunson. But yo, Brunson, what are we doing? Now it's time to talk about Jalen Brunson. Because to start this game in the first quarter, holy shit, he was terrible. I'm like, yo, we were getting a Brunson stinker. In the first, he only had 3 points, 1 of 7 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, with 2 turnovers in the first quarter. He took 7 shots in the first quarter and only made 1. It was a 3-pointer. I thought we were getting a Brunson stinker. That's exactly how it was looking. We thought we were getting a Brunson stinker. But then in the second quarter, guess what happens? He steps it up, but not too much. Right? He was 4 of 8 from the field, didn't make a 3-pointer, had 8 points. He was starting to get into rhythm. And this is where I believe Brunson got hurt. He did get hurt. He got hurt towards the end of the first quarter. He came back into the second quarter as if his knee was 100% and no pain was there. And in the third, he went back to being stinky. 2 of 7 from the field, 0 3 from 3, another turnover. So at this point, I don't know what kind of Brunson we're getting in the fourth quarter because they need Brunson going into this fourth. That third quarter was a struggle offensively, not just for the Knicks, but for also the Spurs. And the worst part about it is that going into this fourth, I'm thinking, yo, Brunson did not sit a single second in that third quarter. Is he going to be gassed? He played every single minute in the third. Well, going into the fourth, after having such a stinking performance, what do you guys think Jalen Brunson does? He is captain for a reason. He had 13 points in that fourth quarter. 5 of 9 from the field. He hit 1 3. Want to know when that 3 was? The last minute and a half of the game. After the Spurs went a 9-0 run, guess who responds with a 9-0 run of themselves? The New York Knicks. Exclusively on the backs of captain Jalen Brunson. And the way that Brunson closed out this fourth quarter is how we wished Shea was closing out fourth quarter against the Spurs. The supposed clutch player of the year was not doing this. Not doing the things that Jalen Brunson was doing. This is why he's one of the clutchest players in this league. Time and time again, stinker after stinker, when the fourth quarter comes, he knows how to close out games. And that's and that goes credit to him. But on top of that, we have to show credit to OG Anunoby, who had 12 points in this fourth quarter too, right behind Brunson's 13. But guess what? He had 2 of 3 from threes. And every one of those threes was needed. They combined for 25 out of 29 points in that fourth quarter. Them two alone outscored the Spurs in that fourth quarter. Spurs only scored 19 points in that fourth. And And that's primarily because Victor Wembanyama believes he's Stephen Curry. Vic, I didn't give you enough shit. I did not. People are crowning you the best player in the world, not me. I said you're up there. I don't have the best player in the world right now. It shifts every single month. It feels like throughout the entire season. But Vic, you have to show out in game two. This is utterly embarrassing. And one thing I want to say, the Spurs, there were stretches in this game. It wasn't all bad, right? It wasn't all bad. I know I've been giving Spurs shit the entire time, but it wasn't all bad because they primarily, there was times in that first half where it looked like, yo, they figured something out, and I believe so myself. What I believe that the Spurs figured out was that I did like the coverage they had was Wemby on Cat. When Wemby wasn't pressing Cat all the way, forcing the Knicks to get into action, and then that led to switching, rotating, and Wemby ended up on Josh Hart helping. They help off of every time Cat gets to switch. It was working. Even on the offensive end, when the Spurs were pushing the pace and making the Knicks help off those corners, especially at the end of that second quarter, when every time De'Aaron Fox drove, anytime De'Aaron Fox got anywhere near the paint, they would help Champagne 3. Because in that second quarter alone, in that second quarter, Champagne went 3 of 3 from 3, strictly off the fact that every time De'Aaron Fox had the ball, and it was a Victor Wembanyama pick and roll, or him just attacking the basket, they helped off those corners every single time without fail. Until eventually in that second half, they was, okay, you know what? It's time for us to be disciplined. Because just in the first half alone, Champagne was 5 of 6 from 3. Want to know what Champagne did in the second half? Let me tell you. He was 0 of 4. He couldn't find his rhythm. He couldn't score the basket, and he couldn't score. That's because, hey, realize we don't need a double. We don't need a trap every single time one of these Spurs guards gets into the paint. We don't have to do that. You know, that's just that's just reality overall. They were so reliant on helping that when it came down to it, they just stopped. Well, guard them one on one. De'Aaron Fox, Castle, and Harper are going to try to get 2 feet into the paint every single time. And as long as we don't allow that to happen, as long as we don't make it easy for them to get into that paint, we are good. Because one thing about the Knicks, one thing about the Spurs is that their guards today, Castle and Fox, need to be better. There is no world on this God green earth that Stephon Castle should be taking 5 3-pointers, especially if he's not hitting them. And there's no way on this God green earth that De'Aaron Fox should be taking 4 3-pointers if he's not hitting them. De'Aaron Fox absolutely abysmal today on the offensive end. I think defensively he still has value there. Always will. As the primary playmaker and facilitator of this team, that is his role on this team. Pulling the ball in the basket is a no-go for him anymore. He can't do it. He can't score. I don't know where the De'Aaron Fox of old is. I don't know where the hell he is. But the Spurs need him back desperately. Maybe that hand injury is getting to him. Maybe the hamstring's getting to him. Maybe he is not 100%. But if he's not 100%, why is he playing 38 minutes? Why is he playing 38 minutes? There's no way in that fourth quarter you don't play your best offensive player tonight to close this game in Dylan Harper. The Knicks had zero answer for Dylan Harper in this game. Zero answer. From the first quarter to every single time on the court he was there, he was an absolute threat. You could not stay in front of him, and it was obvious. He came with the energy, he was scoring inside, he was finding baskets. He was getting steals, playing defense, crashing the boards, he was doing it all. But what do you do, Mitch Johnson? We are sticking to our guns and keeping De'Aaron Fox out there when he was an absolute negative. And to make matters worse, he wasn't even playing good defense in that fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson was licking his chops every time he saw De'Aaron Fox on him. He was licking his chops. This is an absolute abysmal performance by the San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wembanyama has to be better. When Vic's better, everyone's better. I understand he is year 4, 22 years old, first ever playoff game, first ever finals game, but still, that isn't that much of an excuse to have your worst playoff game in this entire run today in the NBA Finals. Vic needs to do better. The Spurs clearly figured something out. I can't wait for game 2. And as always, go hard on them dudes. Salute.